Hello, welcome to Sip's Wood Chips, and my name is Sip Mendes. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching my videos. I've been doing these videos now for 5 years. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And as long as you guys keep watching them, I'll keep doing them. I just wish I could do them more often and do more of them. So for today's video, we're going to look at the screw chuck. This is a screw chuck. And what it is a number 2 Morris taper. It has a dish part here, and it also has a screw. And this screw is used to screw into the end of a block of wood like that. And then once you get it on there, you can spin it and do your lathe work. To attach the screw chuck, you don't really need anything. All you got to do is place it in the arbor and press it in good and tight. Some people just take a block or a mallet and tap it in there, and that usually holds quite well. But I prefer to use a drawbar. This is a drawbar, and all it is really is a piece of 1/4 inch all thread rod, and then I have a lathe, so I made a handle for it to make it easier to screw it in there. And the screw chuck is threaded right here on this end. So all you got to do is put it in here, put the drawbar through all the way, and tighten it down. And it doesn't have to be very tight. What it's for is to prevent the screw chuck from coming loose from any vibration from either turning or from the chisel scraping on the wood. And that makes it a little bit safer and saves your work. What I want to do for today's project is make a chess piece. This is a pawn, and it came from my brother's chess set. He bought this a long time ago down in Mexico, and he lost one piece. So I'm going to make another one like it. And it doesn't have to be an exact match, as it's very difficult to make them exactly match. And the color, I think these might have been made from yellow pine, or else the varnish is tinted to give it that same color. Makes all the wood look the same. So let's get started. And before you start any project, make sure you read, understand, and follow all the instructions that come with your power tools and equipment. Woodworking is fun, but it's important to work safely. Well, let's go. This is the chess piece that I want to make, a pawn from my brother's chess set, and it is a little bit over 2 inches tall. It's about 2 1/8 inch tall, and it's 1 inch in diameter. That would make it about 56 millimeters high and about 25 millimeters across. There's several types of pawns, of course, and one set looks like this. The one I'm going to make looks more like this one here. This is actually oval shaped or egg shaped because it's actually a smaller point here than it is there, and so that's what I'm going to try to make. But I'm going to take my measurements from the actual chess piece. This is a little piece of poplar, and it's over an inch in diameter, and it's about 3 inches long. So, okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and lock my headstock and just screw it on there. It doesn't take much. And as soon as the base reaches that disc there, it's ready to go. Okay. So that's close enough. And that's all I need right about there. So let me go ahead and make some marks here. Okay. This top. So that's the top and the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to make a mark right about in here, and that is going to be the neck. And he has a collar. The collar is right about in here, the bottom of the collar, and the collar is very straight, while the top of the collar is actually tapered. Okay, this line here, that's going to be this line. This line here, about a 1/4 inch up, it's going to be over here. All right, and then the base has a groove right about here. Let's see if I can make them dark enough. I'll spin it, and then I'll make them go all the way around. So these are my guidelines. This is a 1/8 parting tool. Now, one thing you should always have is good sharp tools when you're doing small things like this. And this is a straight skew, a straight skew chisel. It's about 17 millimeters, which is a little bit over 5/8 of an inch. So I'm mostly just scraping right now with the skew. Okay. Now, when I look at this bead, it looks like it's more pointed at the top, like the top of an egg, and more rounded at the bottom, like the bottom of an egg. So I'm going to try to make it more spear shaped. Or okay, so from top to bottom is the same as from bottom to top. Looks like I need to make this still a little bit more pointed and thinned. And the base is right about where it should be. Maybe the top of the collar should be still a little bit lower. It's a little bit over, I think it's 5/16 is what I measured at that, right in there. And so I can take off a little bit more to make this taller. Good. Okay, so to me, that looks like it's right about where it should be. So that looks right about where it should be. This is the collar. The collar diameter is a little bit less than 3/4 inches. It's about 18 millimeters. Or I can use this shallow chisel. Okay. So this color is only slightly larger than this bead. I'm going to use a real thin parting tool. This is actually listed as a tenon tool. Okay. Still looks a little large. Okay, I think if I square that up, it should be fine. And let me use my parting tool for that. Okay. All right. So the next part is right here. And it is very, it is tapered. Okay. So at this point, some of my lines have moved slightly, and I think this needs to be over here, and we'll move them down as we go. Yeah, okay. Okay. At this point is where that cove starts. We'll try the gouge. All right. Okay. Okay. One of the little details is that the base is actually smaller in diameter than this part, so I need to bring this down a little bit and then recut the grooves in it. Here is my sanded piece, and I'm going to give it a quick coat of sanding sealer. Now, sanding sealer, you got to make sure you keep this stuff stirred up, because the silica, I think it's silica that's in there, it tends to settle at the bottom, and that is what fills up the grain of the wood. So I'm going to stir that slightly and get it going. And I'm just going to apply it with the brush. And I'm not going to try to match the color. And then we'll be ready to give it a couple of coats of clear and see how that turns out. My chess piece has been drying for about, well over an hour. And I'm going to spin it, still at 1,000 RPMs, and just buff off just the little roughness that it has. And so I'm just going to use a little piece of steel wool. Some people call it wire wool. It doesn't take very much, just to get rid of, make it nice and smooth. You can actually see that it's getting shiny. And that's because it's getting rid of the graininess, the little roughness from the grain that's risen. Whenever you put varnish and things on something made of wood, it raises the grain. And I think that should be very nice. All right. Now I'm going to give it a coat of a little bit of this varnish, and this is rub-on varnish. It's clear, high gloss, or glossy. We'll just say glossy. Okay. And I'm going to give it several coats, so I'm just going to keep it in here. And I'm going to use that same little brush that I had before with the lacquer. It shouldn't be a problem. I still need to cut it off there. That's where I'm going to cut it. But it should be fine for finishing. And I'm going to remove the excess. Remove the excess from my brush, and then remove excess from the piece. Yesterday I gave it maybe 6 or 8 coats of wipe-on polyurethane, and this morning again I gave it another 2 or 3 coats after buffing it quickly with some steel wool, or some people call wire wool. And I think it's ready to be parted off. So let me get that ready. I'm going to use my thin parting tool. I think they call this a tenon tool. I don't know why it's so narrow. And I'm going to try to catch it, which is always fun to try. And I'm spinning at 1,000 RPM. And I do have my face shield on. I don't know if I'm going to be actually I do not know if I will actually be able to part off the entire piece, because there is a screw going through the center there. But I'll give it a try. And if I have to resharpen my parting tool, I guess I'll do that. Oh. Yeah, I think that that screw comes right up into the bottom of it. So I will let this dry and harden in the sun, and then we'll just sand that off. Thank you so much for watching the video. Here's my finished pieces, and I think they're sufficiently close enough to play a good game of chess. So if you've enjoyed this video, click on like, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead, you can give me a thumbs down. I'll be sad, but that's okay. If you're new to this channel, click on subscribe. And if you want to be notified about new videos as I release them, click on the bell also. You need to click on that bell. I always appreciate your suggestions. Leave me comments in the space below. And until next time, take care.